What should a beginner consider when they start this path of yogasanas? So first of all, a beginner should understand that they are heading towards this path called yoga. So where yogasana becomes the foundation for it. So what is yoga? Yoga is a state of mind which is achieved with consistent effort. So how is this state of mind achieved? What exercises do we do for it? Simply no exercise. So one has to slowly start forgetting about the body, become the mind, and become only the mind. So over a period of time realize what are the different levels of mind and become one with the deepest layer of the mind. So for this, the person has to slowly detach his attachment from the body. So then why do we need yogasanas? Why do we need these physical activities? If we are to detach the mind, we could directly start with something like sitting and breathing pranayama or meditation, closing our eyes and sitting. So if you ask a beginner to start directly with pranayama or meditation, what happens? They will slowly realize that they cannot sit there for more than a minute's time or 2 minutes time due to various reasons. One may be the mind wandering and wanting to create a lot of different emotions in them, or two, the physical discomfort. I get numb in my legs, my knee is painful, my shoulder is feeling dropping, so I am not able to feel comfort when I am sick. So all these reasons will be supporting the lack of concentration. So that is the reason why yogasanas become important. Yogasana is nothing but the mind becoming one with the body and making the body do certain positions. So when the mind becomes one with the body and learns to hold or handle the body, it will also learn to hold the body still in one particular position so that it can understand, the consciousness can understand about the mind itself. The mind becomes a learning subject. So initially first we have to make the body a subject, learn it through our consciousness by making the mind dwell inside the body, and then we have to detach our attention from the body and spend time only with the mind by keeping the body still. So this can be achieved with asana practice. So asana is a lot different than yogasana. I will explain you. Asana is such a position where your pelvic bone is actively placed upon the floor, your spine is placed upon it, your head is placed upon the spine, and your shoulders are not causing any disturbance. The weight of your shoulders are not causing any disturbance to your spine, and hence your mind can start to dwell only in the spine, trying to bring the connection from the spine till the brain, trying to make them one, and then understanding about the whole body, which is a replica of the universe, and hence understanding the universe, and later realizing what the particular individual, what part is he playing in this universe, and over a period of time becoming one with the universe. So this is a process, but for that the person should be capable of sitting and experiencing the inner environment. So yogasanas become helpful to help to make the practitioner understand that the shoulder and the hips are two different entities and the spine is one line in between them, and the practitioner can work upon using his shoulders only or his hips only or the pelvic area only, and they are two separate entities. So this is achieved in the form of alignments. So when we speak about alignments, yogasanas are mainly alignments. So aligning the body parts into various places so that the muscular system understands the separation between each skeletal line, and makes the body flexible. So, what is flexibility? So, when a person thinks about flexibility, it is the capacity of the connective tissues to allow mobility. So, connective tissues, the bones, ligaments, tendons, cartilage, and adipose tissue, the fat. So, these tissues, which are maximum made up of protein, fibers. So, there are three different fibers in these connective tissues. So, they together in complicated forms form different structures like bones, ligaments, and tendons as such. So, when they are not used much, there develops the lack of mobility in them due to the stiffening up of the area. So especially if you see, when the muscular coordination is not there, when the human physical muscular system is not given enough exercise, there is a possibility of the joints to go stiff. So that is the end result of it is arthritis, which we usually see for those who sit only in the for a long term works, sitting in front of computer, sitting being in one position for most of their lives. You'll find that most of the joints in their body have no proper mobility as it was supposed to be. So these kind of problems generate only when there is lack of muscular utility in our regular routine. So yogasanas help to activate all the muscle groups, ensuring proper mobility to all the joints in the body so that the flexibility is developed, and only upon development of this kind of flexibility the person should be able to sit comfortably. So comfort means non-distraction. So he will not be distracted, he or she will not be distracted from being in a position for a particular period of time, for a longer period of time. So only then we can expect the person to be seated for yogasana. So for seated in an asana for practicing yoga. So yogasanas being so fundamental, what should I really consider to develop flexibility? There are two aspects. First, the physical aspect. So when we think about the physical aspect, most of the time we see practitioners who are very enthusiastic for practicing, and we see practitioners who are reluctant about the information of practice, and we also come across practitioners who who are not really uh, let us say who are not really ready for practice but still want to get to the best place whatever they can reach. So it's more like how we can put it in right terms. We can say that they want to do a posture, they are more inclined towards a position more than understanding the basic idea behind it. So there is more possibility of a practitioner getting stuck in this path just because they are more inclined towards a position as it looks like than understanding a position how it should feel like. So when it comes to the physical level of practice, a practitioner should understand his capability, his best capability, and he should accept it that okay, this is my limit at the moment. Over a period of time it will change. So my physical effort should not exceed my capacity for development of flexibility. So I should give my best but not beyond my best. So this all accumulates around the second entity, which is the psychological effort. So how the mind should think. The mind should be content, satisfied and happy with the body for whatever it is capable of doing. And mostly it has to understand that I am practicing these yogasanas for understanding more about my mind. And yoga is a concept which works and deals mostly with the mind, and body becomes a tool for the mind to understand about itself or understand about its own self. So here, when we observe all these concepts while practicing yogasanas, the practitioner should understand that he has to lay importance on a few important factors. So what are those important factors? Firstly, when they are practicing yogasanas, when if I say, let us say I am a beginner, when I start practicing yogasanas, the various changes in my muscular system and my alignment will cause discomfort in my mind or even the physical brain because it is not used to it. So naturally, face and eyes are index of the mind or they are immediate responses of what's happening in the brain. So we can notice that the eye doesn't want to stay in one place. We can notice that the person starts to look up, look down, look here, look there, look at another person beside him. Not intentionally, but this happens as a response towards the physical changes which are happening. So we can say practicing the concept of drishti, where I keep my vision point in one fixed place when I am doing one yogasana. So of course, under the guidance of your teacher, where should I look at? Where is my fixed vision point supposed to be? So this is one among the main key factors for practitioners to develop concentration, balance, and better curiosity and understanding about the posture. So first of all, the drishti. Secondly, they should start to focus upon the sthiti. So when we say a practitioner, when he does a posture, the same discomfort which is caused in the body and the mind can make the person want to come out of the position as soon as possible. So this we can notice even in many intermediate and advanced levels of practitioners, because when asana is performed only for the sake of the position, then it is very likely that we don't want to remain still in the position. So we can say, like when I am doing even for example a vrikshasana, when my hands are up stretched up, so we can say the practitioner would slowly bring the fingers together or stretch it back or bend the elbow or just change the head position, or let us say the attention, so pressing the foot, releasing the foot, allowing the body to move from one place, one side, one angle to another angle. So these kind of tendencies have to be avoided. So we just understand that when you get into one particular position, your sthiti should not be movable, it should be fixed. Yes, so this is the second concept. Thirdly, when we speak about performing an asana, the breath becomes a very important factor. So how am I breathing in the posture decides the most of the benefit of the practice. And yogasana is performed for two main reasons. One is, as we already discussed, to be able to develop flexibility. Secondly, the physiological and psychological reactions. So they are very working close to each other. So when there is an harmonic change in the system due to the various compression or due to the various extensions of certain areas, these signals to the brain allow the mind to focus better. So this is a psychological and physiological combination of activity. So when we think about this, we should understand that the practitioner who is performing an asana should always try to get the best of his attention towards the breath, because breath becomes the key concept of supporting the physiological change. So every asana has a different space which is provided in the lungs. So a posture which gives a lot of compression to the diaphragm may not be allowing the same amount of air when compared to a posture which gives a lot of expansion to the diaphragm region. So a practitioner should try to understand the best capacity of breath which can be offered by a position and try to make use of its fullest. So most of the time we see when a person encounters a new posture, his breath would become very shallow and very small. He wants to either finish the posture as early as possible, or he will start thinking, okay, let me just breathe. But how do I breathe is not his point of focus. So the practitioner's breath should not be including like controlled locks in the breath, like, or should not be very shallow. Let me finish the breath. He should always be as mild, as calm, and in the breaths as the breath can move in the breath space as possible. It should not be in the speed of the mind. The mind says breathe fast, but the body says I can take the air only at this speed, and to be able to fill this amount of this space of the lungs, I need this much of amount of air to be taken in. So both of these concepts have to be considered while breathing. So initially, for a beginner, if he considers these three aspects, one is the drishti, the sthiti position without changing and fluctuating in the posture while the stay of for 5 minutes, and thirdly, the breath. So when they focus on all these three aspects, I would say their advancement in terms of flexibility, their understanding, and their capacity to focus, develop the concentration power, everything will increase, and it is no doubt that they will start to realize the importance of yogasana in the path of yoga.